I'm going to put a question here from Senator Wu, who is talking about the machinery of government, and we've talked about how it can be approved. He's asking, is there a need for a central agency beyond Treasury Board, perhaps a competitiveness agency? Uh, I'd be interested in your comments. I'm not on that, whether there's somebody easier or a way that might be easier to deal with government on this. Go ahead, and then we'll hear from Mr. Guy and Mr. Bourgeois.
I think there's a real need to have, I think the External Advisory Committee was a good approach because it was a group outside of government giving advice and in the form of letters that went regularly to the minister and were public. So there's some accountability in that. And whether that needs to be pushed even further along the dimension, I hate to suggest another bureaucracy.
That was my fear too.
I hesitate about that, but I think the External Advisory Committee, if something like that, and this was one of our final recommendations actually to government, was that something like that should continue to exist in one way, shape, or form. I do think it needs more profile, and I'm not sure how exactly to do that. But even on this committee, I'm referring you back to some letter. Like, there has been a lot of work done, and that tells me that there's, we didn't do a good enough job of making sure that the advice that we were giving had profile beyond just the minister and Treasury Board staff. Mr.
Guy?
Yeah, I think if you look at some of the mandate letters that appeared from this government, I would say that one of the things that I did look for was how many times regulation or regulatory appeared, and it wasn't very many. The one thing that you are seeing some provincial governments do, previous governments as well, is having that political leadership on that red tape reduction or that regulatory piece, which could always be an option to look. I think I smiled as soon as the question was asked of another government agency. I think. I'll just say probably not something that I would be supportive of, but I think having that political leadership, I think is an interesting aspect.
Yeah, political will is much different than another department. Mr. Bourgeois, do you have a comment?
Yes, I do. In terms of the co-op sector, having the cooperative secretariat be reestablished would be a great help. It helped in terms of they knew what co-ops were. They were inclusive, and they could help us make inroads and educate. So also putting a co-op lens on regulatory policy and programs that are about to come out.
Excellent. Thank you for that suggestion.